Hey everybody, welcome back to the Homesteader. Today is part 2 in the continuation of building the system for the front of the John Deere tractor so we can get the log tongs mounted on here. And that will enable us to move logs safely from the log pile over onto the sawmill without having to worry about doing a lot of damage. As I said before, we're going to use this also for picking up firewood, and that'll be nice to be able to pick up a log and have it suspended in the air, and we can just lop off the ends, and then there'll just be a short piece in the center that we can deal with after. So we're going to head into the shop and we're going to get started. This 4x4 HSS hollow structural steel is what we're going to use to mount to the front of the tractor. On that, we're going to be having the log tongs hanging off it like this, and then the log tongs can open up and close as we put them around a log. What we need to do is work on a system that can hold those log tongs underneath here. And I want to make it a bit adjustable, you know, if we want to go up or down. The important part on the tractor is to make sure those logs are as close to as possible as this, because if it's hanging way down here and I got to elevate the loader on the tractor, it puts a lot of imbalance into the tractor because it's got a tight wheelbase on it. So I got an idea on how to do that, and we're going to use chains. So let's get started at that. You might notice on this piece of steel, this end is open. There's a little tab on here, and the other end has a plate on it. It used to be standing upright in a past life, but we're going to make it continue to live on. That's a good thing about steel. Just don't leave it in the water too long. We're going to find our center here. We're at 86, so that's 43. Mark that. For this one, we're going to keep the log tongs 60 inches apart. So put the 30 on our center line. We'll mark 60 here and down there. This doesn't need to be laser accurate. If it's off a 1/4 inch, I don't think anybody cares. It's not going to put anything off balance. This is the chain that we're going to use to suspend the log tongs. And what I want to do is the log tongs will be hanging underneath here, suspended by this chain. So I need to develop a little thing that I can drop this chain into at the top here, and then bring it around and drop that one in there. And I'll put another one at the center line and another one at the 60 inches away. And then we can lower it, we can adjust it as required. And that should make everything pretty easy, like it always is. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this heavy flat bar. I'm going to take this heavy flat bar and put one on one side and one on the other, like that. And then you can drop the chain in down in between, keep it nice and tight, and we'll go around, and then we can put the other side on as well. Drop it into the slot. I'm going to go over to the chop saw, and we'll get some pieces cut up to do that. What we need to go is basically double that width, because it's going to be one piece is going to be like that, then another piece like that, and then we'll put a little extra. So that one is, let's call it 1.5 inches. One link is 1.5 inches wide. So let's go 3 inches. Let's go 4 inches then. So we need 6 pieces, 4 inches long. All right, we got our 6 pieces, and we're just going to clean them up on the bandsaw. We don't want those sharp edges. They'll be sure to catch us at some point. So this flat bar I'm using is half an inch thick. And our maximum diameter of the chain here, which is at the weld, that is about 7/16. So I'm going to use one of these pieces to create a spacer, so we can put our pieces around that to make sure that we maintain that space. So when we're welding it, nothing moves on us. The first thing I need to do though is I got to clean the rust off of this area so I can get a nice clean weld. All right, that should do it. You see that we put the weld right there, and then we won't get any of this contamination in it. We put the ground on. First pieces there. When I clean these up, I also just clean the scale off at the end of each piece as well. Spacer in there. Get the next piece on there. Clean up a little more. The idea is that we'll put one in like that, and then I can come around and put the other one in like that, and the log tongs will be hanging below there. I think that'll work pretty good. We'll get some good power welds on there to give her lots of strength, and that problem will be solved. So I'll get the other two done, and then we'll move on to the next problem. Well, all right, those are all done. That didn't take too long. Took me about a week to think how I was going to do that. I was thinking of buying some of the weld-on hooks that you can get, that you can see in a previous video I did that you can look at it right here, on putting some hooks onto my bucket for the tractor. But I just figured I got the flat bar here, may as well use it. It'll work fine. Initially I was concerned that one of these might bend with the weight, but because we have one going this way and one going that way, the weight's going to be evenly distributed. And I got some power welds on there, so I'm not worried about it. The next problem is how to get this mounted onto here. So I'm going to have to come up with a system that takes advantage of these holes and this. Because the way this works is you come in, these are tilted down, they go under a hook like that, and the hook goes on there and it drops down, and then a pin goes through, and we put the little clip on there. The first thing we'll do is we'll develop those pins that go on here, weld them onto the HSS beam, and then we'll come up with some kind of system that will finish it off. So I come out to the bucket here, we're going to measure the diameter of the pins. The existing pins are about 1.2. I don't know where they come up with that number, but 1.2 inches. I know we don't have any round stock that's 1.2 inches, so we'll probably have to go with 1 inch. I don't think it'd be super critical. Those pins really just kind of hold the equipment, the bucket, the forks or whatever. They just hold it to the tractor. All the weight is hanging off the top, and obviously we'll beef that up a little bit, make sure we're compensated there. So I did happen to find a piece of 1 1/4 inch, which fits in the holes on the tractor, and I can taper them down a little bit with the belt sander. So we'll do the taper first, so we got a nice long handle to work with, and then we'll cut them off at 2 inches. I got those cut off and cleaned up. Nice little taper on them. And now we need to put a hole in here to accommodate this pin. And that pin makes sure that the implement doesn't come off the front of the tractor. So on the existing equipment, the hole they have is 1/2 inch. So that's what we'll drill. We'll drill in a hole that's 1/2 inch through there. Then that pin can go in and snap over. Next step for our pins is to measure the distance between that hole and this hole, so we can put those pins in the right place on our HSS beam. .46½. I'll double check. I'd say it's actually 46 5/8. That'll put us right dead center. 5/8, 23 5/16. 425 and 5/16. We'll go there. So you can see, there's our center mark, and 23 5/16 away on both sides. I'll measure it again as I round the mark off. So 46 5/8. Yep, we're good. Now I'm going to take the grinder and I'm going to drop that weld down a little bit on each side, just because I don't want it to interfere with the plates on the tractor. Now theoretically it should be ready to put onto the tractor, so we can take a measurement for the next part that hooks over the top there. But the pin's on there now. I got a pin in my hand here, so we should be able to make it work. That looks all right. We don't want all the weight sitting on these pins. The pins are just to stop it from leaving the tractor. But what we want is for another piece to come here and go up over top of this. So this piece of channel iron is just wide enough for this. So we can use this for here. It'll come up and we'll make a hook that goes over top. We can put a couple of brackets on the side to make it nice and strong. So we'll cut 2 pieces of that channel at 16 inches and we'll see where we're at then. So if we make our pieces of flat bar, let's say 3.5 inches long, 3.5 will work. So let's get those cut. Now we got to cut a piece that goes across the top here. And that piece is exactly 6 inches. We need 2 of those. So I got one more step after this, and that's to put the little tab on here, and that'll catch onto the rod that's on top of the tractor to catch it and pull it in. And that's a pretty precise thing, so we're going to do that on the tractor. So I got to take this thing over one more time. And that's good because it keeps getting heavier and heavier. So the piece I need to deal with now is just a little flat piece that comes down here. And that'll hold it onto the tractor. Otherwise, it just pops off like that. So I'm going to drag the welder out here and we'll get it in place. Well, first, of course, I got a couple pieces of steel to go in there. So we're not going to weld it all the way across because if we do that, the stress of the weld will pull that right out. So we just got it tacked for now, and we can take it off again and weld it up. So we'll get the other side done first. So I got it turned upside down so I can get the nice weld on the inside there. I think that wraps it up. There's only one thing left to do, and that's get it on the tractor and try it out. Do that. So good. Let's go find a log. Well, that worked out pretty good. It's always nice when a plan comes together. Initially, I was thinking of going hydraulic and buying a grapple for the front. I think it would have cost about $1,200 for the grapple, and that doesn't include any hydraulic lines or anything like that, and the valves. You know, so I probably would have been $2,000 into that. The only thing I had to buy for this was the grade 8 bolts, and that was $15. A little high, but we're up here, so people tend to jam you a little bit for things you can't get easily. But that's going to make things awesome for putting logs onto the sawmill without smashing the sawmill around. It's not good when you bump into the sawmill because it can knock things out of line, and then all your logs are not as square as you'd hope them to be. So thanks for joining me here today on the Homesteader, and I'd just like to point out I'm on Instagram now as the Homesteader channel. So you want to check me out there? Go ahead. Try to post pictures there every couple days. And I'm working on some microgreens too. And I got some pictures on there, and that'll be an upcoming video. So if you could like and subscribe and share with your friends, that would really help me out. Leave a comment below if you like this video or if you want to see something in another video. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.